Hello, my name is Xavier Foley, and today we have a video recorded lesson with a special guest here. His name is Gabriel English. Now, a little bit about Gabriel. Gabriel is an interesting guy. He loves to improv, and sometimes you'll see him practicing his skills on the New York City subway line. What we're going to work on is a topic that many bass players have trouble with, which is improv. Now we're going to talk about the difference between good improv and not so good improv. But we must define what good improv is versus not so good improv. Good improv is improv that an audience member, no matter how classically trained or how well versed in jazz they are, the question is whether they understand what the player is playing or if they don't understand what the player is doing. I don't know about you, but for me, going to a concert and hearing improv where we understand what the player is doing, that makes me feel like I'm smart enough to get what the player's playing. As opposed to a player who's playing music where the music doesn't make any sense at all, that, for me, as an audience member, makes me feel kind of stupid. And I don't like feeling that way. I really like feeling when I can understand what the player is doing. So me and Gabriel were just having a little short lesson here, and we came to the conclusion that good improv is where you can't tell the player is improving, but it sounds like this person is actually playing a piece of music that they wrote. So in this lesson, we're going to figure out the tools and the strategies that it takes to make someone's improv sound like they're actually playing a piece of music. So, first, here's what we're going to do. We are going to pick a name for this improv that we're going to do. So, Gabriel,
All right.
let's say you are in the New York City subway. You're going to practice your improv. You're going to try to get people's attention. But we need to figure out what this so-called improv is about. What is the main theme of this improv? And one of the strategies is to think of it as if we're playing a piece, right? But all pieces have names. All pieces have names. So the first step is to figure out what name we're going to name this sort of piece. So what would you call this piece that you haven't written down yet?
I call it traveling.
So we have a piece called Traveling.
Traveling.
What does Traveling sound like? Can you play Traveling? Now stop. Can you play Traveling one more time? Now stop. Now what I really like about Traveling is that this is something I can easily remember. And when I told Gabriel to stop, and when he played it again, he had no problem remembering Traveling, which is also very nice. Because some instrumentalists, when they start improvising, they'll play a theme that's super, super complex, with all these tritones and diminished chords and 5/7 chords. They're trying to sound all academic, but when they try to return to the theme again, they just can't remember it. And what Gabriel has just done here is he's played a theme to this traveling piece where it's so easy to remember. In fact, I think I can recite what he just played. So let me see if I can remember what he played. And tell me if I'm wrong. Uh-oh, I had a problem, but actually I messed up, but it's that's Traveling. Did I play it?
Right.
How did I remember that?
It's easy to remember. It's
so easy to remember.
Catchy.
So thank you so much for that. Now, obviously we have to do something different. You know, when we're playing a piece, it's not just going to sound like that forever. We have to do something different. So what we're going to try to do is do a little variation of this thing, but we're not going to go completely way out there where we don't really know where we're going. So another strategy that we came up with is we take a name of a piece called Traveling, and we name something that's related to traveling. So what we just played was called Traveling. Now, what would it sound like if we called this next moment in this piece, we're going to call it Traveling in the Sun?
Wow.
Now, what does that sound like?
Sounds dangerous.
Well, let's hear it. Let's actually hear what it sounds like. Yeah. Now, you know what I'm going to ask, right?
All right. Can I play it again?
Yes. Now, can you go back to just traveling, but not under the sun? Okay. Now we're just traveling.
All right.
And then Traveling under the sun. And now back to Traveling. Thank you. I can already imagine Gabriel playing in a subway, and the parents are walking their children, and they hear this theme called Traveling, and then Traveling under the Sun, and they're like dancing. Watch them play Traveling. This is what the kids will be doing, you know? And then it's like you're creating this experience in the subway station that's not unlike any other. And then people are going to start handing out their business cards. And that's what Gabriel definitely wants. So, thanks. Now, we're going to do something different. Instead of traveling under the sun, we're going to do the opposite of that. So, what's the opposite of traveling under the sun?
Going home.
Or, that's one way. I was actually thinking
Space travel.
How about traveling under the moon?
Wow.
Yeah, how would that sound like?
Okay.
How does the moon, when you see the moon, how does it make you feel?
It can be kind of spooky. It could be kind of unknown, mystifying.
So what would spooky, unknown, and mystified sound like? But still, you're traveling.
Right.
But what does it feel like to travel with that spooky, unknown, mystified kind of feel?
Something like this.
Okay, now stop. We're going to wait 5 seconds of silence. Now play it again and see if we can remember that. Now we're just traveling. Go back to the. And now we're about to see the sun. Now we're going to travel under the sun. Oh, the moon's coming up. Back to traveling. All right, so it's like I just listened to a piece of music. We have like the A section. We have this. They're all A sections, really, sure. But they all have their little variations. Now we're gonna do something that makes this kind of tricky. So we're gonna make a B section.
B section.
And we haven't actually talked about this before this recording started. So the B section. The B section is not going to sound like traveling. In fact, so this is what the B section is going to be. The B section is when you step out of your. Let's say we all this time we were driving a car. We didn't really specify that, but we stepped out of our car.
Right.
And now we're camping.
Okay.
And this is going to be a little tricky. We have to remember all of that stuff, all of that A1, A2, A3, whatever. Now we're on B. And we're going to create something new.
So how about, so A goes into A, I guess.
Whatever you think contrasts traveling. Whatever sounds different than traveling. It could be a different key. It could be slow, fast, or. Can you remember that?
Oh, that was just an idea, I guess.
But you know, the thing is about playing, when you're improvising and you're actually like on a big concert stage, everybody's watching, you don't have time to think.
That's true.
So if you play something like the first 5 notes, you're going to have to stick with those first 5 notes. Whatever it is. Okay, now that's your B. You remember that? That was different. Let's do something a little bit more simple.
All right, okay.
Because remember, no matter what, you have time to think, you just make sure it's so simple that you can remember it. That's the key here. If you can't remember it, I'm sorry, but that theme's no good. Go, 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 go. Yeah. Keep playing again.
I'll do it like this.
Now, okay. I can't stress this enough.
Right.
The problem here is that we want to prepare for that moment where things are really stressful and the adrenaline's high. And it's really hard to think and to use that logical part of our mind. When we're on that stage, like I know you don't just play in the subway. Gabriel actually performs. We're on that big stage where everybody's watching.
Yeah.
You don't have time to think.
No time.
That's why I'm telling you, man. The theme has to be simple. And if you have to think about yourself. You have to put yourself in a situation. You have to do a little bit of role play where you're in that concert. And you just won't be able to think. Now, what would you play? In fact, here's the question. Do something right now and just take the first 4 or 5 notes. Don't go past four or 5 notes. Just whatever you do, whatever it is, that's the thing. But this thing is going to be about camping.
Right.
Go. There's your camping thing. Now, do you remember that? Then camp again. Keep camping, man. No, stop. You see, so I mean, that may not be the thing you wanted.
Right.
But as an audience member, I'm happy because you just went. You seem pretty chill about it, pretty confident about what you're doing, and I don't have to worry about an audience member as to whether this guy up here is feeling comfortable with himself. You just went straight for it, and you decided that that's going to be my thing. That's going to be that campy thing. And as an audience member, I can remember that. La, do, fa, sol. La, do, fa, sol. Okay, now that's B1. That's camping. Now, what does it sound like when you're camping under the sun? So what did you do when you were traveling under the sun? What did you do?
Oh, traveling was a...
Now what about traveling under the sun? So that same rhythm is dun, 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 dun.
It's the same thing.
So maybe you can do that same thing for camping under the sun. There you go. That was easy. You can totally remember that probably.
Right.
I can remember that. La, do, la, fa, sol, fa, la, do, la, fa, sol, fa, la. And I'm the audience member that knows nothing about jazz or classical, and I can vibe with that. Now go back to just camping. And what I really liked about that is that he just transitioned to it without thinking. And you seem pretty confident what you're doing, and I can really, yeah. And then go back to camping under the sun. And then now we're traveling again. Just traveling. Now stop. And what we just did there was really amazing. I felt so good because I understood logically that you're going back to the main theme again.
Right.
And that, for an audience member like me, who I pretended to be a non-classically trained musician or jazz, that sounded to me like home. So, what we were talking about in the beginning was that there are differences between good improv and maybe not so good improv. And I think we have come to the conclusion that good improv is something that we can understand no matter how musically trained we are. What I just heard right now was a feeling of homeness. And, and sometimes when he played dum, 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 for me it actually sounded like I was on the beach. And the idea here is that we're making the audience feel something through relationships between themes, right? Camping under the sun, and camping under the moon. And we played a little game here. So what we did was we went to the B section. Sorry, I got that wrong, actually.
You gotta get that.
I got that wrong. Traveling, so we went from traveling, and then we went to camping, and then we went back to traveling. So it sounded like we were on our main theme. So we were traveling, we had to take a break, then we went back. So we were home, we went away, then we went back home. So we're doing a lot of things here, a lot of techniques and strategies that make the audience feel something, and that's the goal here. So,
All right.
yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll play around. I really like his bass, and I want to take a crack at doing some improv. So will you let me?
Yes. Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
thank you.
All right.
I don't need a bell.
All right. Perfect.
Okay, so yeah.
Right.
Wow, that was a fun lesson, and I feel like me myself have gained a lot of knowledge just from hearing you. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Again, this is Gabriel English, originally from Atlanta or Ackworth.
Ackworth, Georgia.
Ackworth, Georgia, which is very close to Atlanta. I myself am from Marietta, Georgia, so we're around the same area. But he lives in New York City, and if you're a New Yorker and you're traveling A-Train,
A train.
if you're traveling on an A-Train, you might see Gabriel. Make sure to give him some love, and thanks for watching.